Oh, the egg industry and the dairy industry. That's what turned me vegan, was the dairy industry. If you're vegetarian because you're against animal cruelty, then you just have to look up dairy is scary or look up the truth about eggs and find out. Male chicks are being born, and the same day they're born, they're put into a macerator and ground up alive. So I tend to call everybody Beans. So I'm going to say, hello, Beans. And it basically because of the BFG had a massive influence on me. And up until he met the Queen, he was vegan, I reckon, because he necessarily snozzcombers, and that was it. So that's where it comes from. And I want to welcome you all and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you about activism. So I've been vegan for just over 4 years. I'm quite a new vegan. I went vegan at 40, so a lot older than all of you. I'm probably old enough to be most of your mums, so it's fine. And I went vegan because I watched 3 films in one day. I watched What the Health, Cowspiracy and Vegucated. And there was a scene in Vegucated that made me just well up and cry my eyes out, and it was the calf being taken away from its mother. And it just shook me to the core. My husband was away. We'd already made an effort to cut out dairy, and we cut back on meat products. He was at his parents', he came back, I was still in tears. He said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I'm going vegan, I'm done. I can't do this anymore." And he said, "Okay, I'll do it with you." I didn't have to convince him or tell him what I'd seen or anything. He was just 100% behind me. So I'm really lucky that my husband's vegan with me, because I think I would have struggled if he'd have had animal products coming into the house, and it would have made our relationship quite difficult. And I know there are vegans out there that go out with non-vegans, and all power to them. I don't know how they do it, because I think I would struggle. So that's when I went vegan, and why. And I've found a lot of vegans, it is the dairy industry that makes them go vegan. So it took me a year to become an animal rights activist. I suffer with anxiety. I can feel myself shaking now talking to you guys, but I really struggle being in new environments and meeting new people. And it's something that I've always struggled with since I was a little girl. So I watched this video of this amazing activist. It was James Aspey showing the video. It was a Meet the Victims in Australia. And there was a girl on there he interviewed called Mippy Valentine. If you don't know who she is, check her out. She's got a small YouTube channel, which she's not active on, but she is active on her Facebook. And she's an inspirational female activist. I absolutely love her. And she said at the Meet the Victims event, if half vegans were active, were advocates for the animals, we would have had a vegan world last week. And she's right. We've looked at the numbers, and I know from doing street activism from the last 3 years, there's only about 1 or 2% of vegans are animal rights activists. And it made me think, after listening to Mippy, why am I vegan? I went vegan because of the animals. I definitely started going plant-based before that because of environment and health. But it was seeing that dairy calf get taken from her mother that made me want to go vegan. And yes, I was posting online and I was sharing things on Facebook, and I was losing friends left, right and centre, but I just didn't care. I had to share this. I wanted my friends and family to see what I saw. And I found it really frustrating because they just weren't, and I just felt like I was hitting a brick wall all the time. So I looked on Bristol Vegans on Facebook page and saw an event for AV, for a Cube of Truth, and I went. And I met all these strangers, and I'm just like in the cube, putting the mask on, holding the tablet, and I'm not going to talk to anyone. I'm just going to stand here and hold this and listen to what people are saying. And I thought, in my head, I was like, what right do I have to be here? I went vegan at 40. I've only been vegan a year. Like, I felt like a bit of a fraud, and I felt like I didn't have the knowledge to be able to do the street outreach and talk to people. But I was listening to people doing the outreach, and I thought, do you know what? I know that. I could have said that, because we've all said it to our friends and family. We've all watched the Earthling Ed videos or the Joey Carbstrong videos, or we've seen dairy is scary. You know, we've seen those. We know the information. We know the facts. That's why we're all vegan, right? And we all want animal liberation. Do we all want animal liberation? Yeah, definitely. You don't want this to happen anymore. So we need more activists. If you can turn, how many here, hands up, who's turned somebody vegan since they've been vegan? Right, yeah. So you've all influenced somebody, and that one person will probably go and turn someone else vegan. So if you've got, say, 10 vegans and they turn another 10 people vegan, that's 20 vegans by the end of the year. And if those 20 all turn one person the next year, the numbers are just going to grow. There's no doubt about it. There's no getting away from it. So the first activism, like I said, I got involved with was AV. And then from AV, I met someone who was at the event, and she does vigils. So then I went on and I did a vigil at Tulip, which is just outside Bristol. And I got to meet some more activists who do chalking and do street food events and do stickering and do leafleting. And your world just opens up. And once you get involved in one form of activism, there's so many other ones that you can get involved in and take part in too. And the crowd is just so welcoming, they're so supportive. I mean, I've been doing activism with George, who's filming for me today, for almost 3 years. I think it's 3 years next month, actually. And he's always there to support me. If I need help, if I'm feeling down, or if I'm struggling with something emotionally, I know I can message him, and also my other vegan friends as well. And he's the same with me. And we just work together and we help each other grow. Like, my street outreach is not perfect, don't get me wrong, it could do with some work. But I go home and I reflect, and I research, and I watch other people, and I see what else I can do. And I attend workshops, which I'll come on to in a minute as well. So I've also arranged the Animal Rights March. It was in Bristol in 2019. Didn't do this year because there was a bit of confusion with the police, that another group did it. But that's something that's actually quite easy to do. It does take a lot of work, but as long as you're in contact with the police and things like that, marches are something that anyone can do. You just need a good team behind you to help you. And I organised the Worldwide Chalking Night event, which is actually set up by a guy who lives in the Canary Islands, and that's once a year. So I help that. It's all cities. So if you're at home, if you're not at uni, when it's happening, you can arrange it in your hometown. And all you need to do is just post on some vegan pages that are local to you, and hopefully you'll get the activists to come to that. And chalking's a family event as well, because none of you have got kids, but kids can come too, and you can get them involved. And it's a really nice, family-friendly, non-invasive form of activism. So the ways you can find activism, there's Bristol Vegans, which I guess all of you are on Bristol Vegans. You must be. And then there's Bristol Vegan Activists as well. And there's Bristol Vegan Events. So there's 3 pages on Facebook where you can get involved. At the end as well, if you want, I can give you a link to a chat group on Telegram. And we talk about other events on there, and we swap ideas. There's a fur protest coming up, but they're also going to involve wool and leather, which I think is really important. Not just to focus on on the fur, but focus on the other things. So if you want, at the end of this, come over to me and I'll pop your number in and I'll add you to the group, and then you can get involved in that. There's the AV group, which you can join on Facebook, which is AV-Bristol UK. And there's also We the Free, which is another form of street activism that I've recently got involved in the last year. And it's very similar to AV, slightly different because it's actually based on what the volunteers want. So it goes, rather than going a triangle that way, it's upside down. So it's volunteers, organisers, and then the head of We the Free. So if you think something might work, let us know, we'll try it, and we can see it if it works. And the way we can see it works is because we have this algorithm where we can send people to a website with a code that we've talked to on the street, and we can see if they've logged in, if they've watched any films, how many of the films they've watched, and if they signed up to challenge22.com. And that will be based on your own personal ID. So you'll be able to see if talking like Joey and telling them straight and how they've got to do it works, or if talking like Ed works. One of the methods we use is the Socratic method. Socrates famously said, people believe what they say, not what they're told. So we tend to ask questions. Have you seen the footage before? What do you think of this footage? How does it make you feel? Why does it make you feel like that? Do you think we need to use animals? And they come out of it themselves. Are you against animal cruelty? You ask anybody that question, their answer is going to be, of course I'm against animal cruelty. I don't want to support it. So every one of us is vegan at some point, and we just have to bring it out of them and make them vegan. And we can do that with questioning. But Not just street activism or meet the victims. There are so many ways to be active for the animals. If you don't like talking to the public, wear a t-shirt. I love this t-shirt. I got this at Camp Out. I absolutely love the logo on the back. I think it's brilliant. And I think I've got 20 t-shirts now at home, which is probably a bit much. But I've got one that says, "My food didn't beg for mercy." And I love wearing that because it's massive and it fills the whole t-shirt. I've also got a hoodie with it on and a bag and people's faces. And I've got another one as well. This is from the same people. The jumper I had on earlier, it's called Defender of Animals. And they've got loads of t-shirts on there. And one of them says, "Veganism is extreme until you have body parts in your freezer." And this old woman in the supermarket saw me wearing it, said, "Oh, what does your t-shirt say, dear?" She pulled it out, read it, and she went, "Well, very nice," and walked off. But she read it, and you don't know, that might just think something in for her, and she might go and look at something else. You have no idea. But Defender of Animals are great because it's two forms of activism. One, you're wearing a t-shirt. Two, 50% of their profits go to an animal sanctuary local to here called Pear Farm, and the other 50% go to another animal sanctuary in Wales. So they don't take any money at all. So you're doing two forms of activism because supporting animal sanctuaries, as far as I'm concerned, is 100% activism. So definitely check Defender of Animals out. I love the guy as well. He's such a nice, humble bloke, and the t-shirts are wicked. They're honest and they're out there in brutal messages. So that leads me on to also the Pear Tree Animal Sanctuary. We've got an event coming up. We do volunteers at We the Free once every couple of months. We go with a group of us to Pear Tree Farm and we build a pig pen, or we rebuild a fence that the goats have knocked down because their goats are really, really naughty. Or we'll build out, I think we're building chicken coops in November, and that's for anyone to come. You don't have to be coming to our street activism events to come to Pear Tree. In fact, you don't have to come to Pear Tree just when we go. Check out Dean Farm as well. They need volunteers all the time, and helping the animals is helping the veganism move forward by looking after these animals, because it takes so much time and money and patience and energy to do it. I have utmost respect for anyone that runs an animal sanctuary, I really do. Stickering's great as well. I spoke to an activist recently. She's got a YouTube channel. She's 17, amazing woman, really, really liked her. She went vegan because she saw a sticker on a lamppost, went home and then looked up veganism on her computer and on YouTube. So if she hadn't have seen that sticker, you just don't know. Every little thing that you do can help somebody to go vegan. You don't need to be going to meet the victims and breaking into a farm if you don't want to do that. You don't need to be doing street activism if that's out of your comfort zone. You can just put a sticker up on a lamppost, or put a leaflet through a door, or this is another good one, leaflets or messages on car windscreens. So scrap paper, write little messages out, fold them up. Could be watch Dominion, or watch dairy, it's scary, or this many chicks are killed a year. Fold it up, put it in the windscreen and walk away. You don't have to speak to anyone. And when they come back, they'll see that flyer or that piece of paper. It's better if it's a piece of paper, and they'll think my car's been broken into or damaged and someone's left their details. And they'll be so relieved when they see the piece of paper that no one's actually broken in. They might read that or go and watch Dominion and look at the link. So that's a really nice form of activism as well. Just everyday things. Wearing a t-shirt every day as well. That's something that's really easy. We have workshops at We the Free. So I think it's once a month. We're running free online workshops, all done via Zoom, showing you how to do outreach and giving you ideas and information that you can do. Earthling Ed has a great 30 days, 30 excuses. I'm sure most of you have seen that. I watch that all the time just to brush up on what to say, and you don't really need to know all those facts, but sometimes people might ask you that information. And then the Animal Justice Academy, set up by this amazing woman in Canada, and it's a free online course for 6 weeks, but you do it in your own time. And every day there's like a 20-minute video you can watch, and it talks about politics, how to campaign, how to get a petition started. There's loads of stuff on there. It's immense, the amount of things on there. So definitely check that out, because that's Animal Justice Academy, and that is free as well. So the do's and don'ts. I would not recommend doing anything that puts animals in harm, of course, but all activism is valid. As far as I'm concerned, every activism is valid. Don't waste your time on conversations that are turning into debates or that are getting you irate. Just walk away. And this is why I do street activism now, because talking to my family and friends, forget it, there's no point. Just like, I'm literally pulling my hair out. It's not shaved, I've pulled it out, honestly. But, no, I just don't bother anymore. But talking to strangers, when you have someone come back to you and say, oh, do you remember me? We had a conversation, I've gone vegan. That's amazing. If I've just done that for one person, I'm happy, because I don't know what effect he's going to have. He might have a better effect than I do on people. So yeah, that's done. Any questions?
What would you say is the highlight of like your vegan activism?
My activist family. My activist family, just knowing that we're all working together and we're all singing from the same hymn sheet and we care about animal liberation. So, and you know, making that change together, because you can do it on your own, but it's hard work and lonely, but doing it with each other, it's just so much better, it's so much easier. You feel like you've got backup. You feel like you've got backup.
Is there like a hierarchy of most illegal to least legal activists?
I don't think so, no, I don't think so. I think if you're doing DXE, like I would love to do direct action. I think it's fantastic, I think it's really powerful. Like with vigils, if I filmed footage at a vigil of the pigs in the truck, my friends and family see that, and it's from a first person perspective because they know me and they can connect with how I'm feeling in that moment. So direct action is definitely amazing. But that person that put that sticker on that lamppost that turned my friend vegan, they're just as important. So whether you're just posting on Facebook, but doing something, I mean, it's like Regan Russell said, I don't know if I'm doing any good, but I know that doing nothing does no good, and I totally 100% back her up on that. God rest her soul. Like, it's 100%. Anyone else?
What's a particularly tough conversation you had on street outreach?
Recently, those two boys that were saying about feeding, that was an example of when I should have stepped away. They're going, I don't want to be vegan, I don't want to eat grass. And I got pulled in. And I was like, don't be so stupid. You know we don't eat grass, you're an idiot. Like, why are you saying that? And even George said to me afterwards, you should have left that. And I know that I should have left it, but I think I was in for a fight that day. And I was like, yeah, just gonna go for it. Any else? Go on.
Tell us what the Liberation Pledge is and how you found it.
Oh yeah, I've taken the Liberation Pledge. Does anyone here know about the Liberation Pledge? No, I don't have my fork on me at the moment. So the Liberation Pledge is where you refuse to sit down at the table where people are eating animals and their secretions, which sounds quite like obstructive and disruptive, and it is. That's what it's meant to be like. And I have this saying that some of my families and friends would rather have animals on the table than me sat round the table. So the Liberation Pledge is inspired by the Chinese. They had a pledge, they used to bind women's feet in the old days, right? And make their feet really small and bent, and it was just horrible whole thing. And it was started by a king that thought it would look great. He saw one woman with it and made everyone have it. So these parents stopped binding their daughters' feet in protest to this, and they stopped their sons marrying women with bound feet. And it took about 100 years, but eventually they stopped binding girls' feet in China, which is amazing. I think there's some people that still practice it now out of choice, but I think it stopped in the early 1900s, so it was quite late on. It did go on for a long time. So the Liberation Pledge kind of follows that. So if we're refusing to eat with people, then they have to try vegan food. Now, one of the arguments I've had is like, well, you know, if they're eating their own food, they're not going to ask about your food. Well, if they're sat eating vegan food with you, they don't need to ask about my food because they can have it themselves. They can try it themselves. And for me, I was talking to a fellow activist friend of ours in London who'd taken the pledge because it never made sense to me. I didn't understand it. And he said that we're on the streets and we're asking perfect strangers to go vegan. We're telling them about what's happened to the animals and we're showing them footage. And then we're going home to our family and friends and we're sitting with them while they're eating animals. It's double standards. And also, how many of you would sit down here where someone was eating dog? None of you. So why should it be any different for the cows and the pigs and the chickens and the turkeys and everyone else that these other people are eating? So that's why I took the pledge. And it has had its difficult moments, but it's had some really easy ones too.
A bit of a kind of tricky and hypothetical question, but you said you went vegan when you were 40.
Yeah.
So you've kind of lived through that standardised omnivore diet, and you obviously kind of viewed that as okay, as a lot of us have done in the past. Let's say you're in your mid-30s, mid-20s, whatever, and you came across someone who had pledged the way that you're just talking. How do you feel, how do you think that would make you feel at the table?
I was the worst omnivore in the world. Let me tell you now, I tagged my vegetarian friend in a bleeding burger at a grill stock festival that I was at. That's who I was. I argued with vegans and vegetarians, and I thought cows ate grass to make milk. Like I was that indoctrinated and that blinded by it. And I'm going to be honest now, a month before I went vegan, I was at that meat festival, and my Facebook post that day said, time for the 3 main food groups, pork, beef and chicken. That was my post that I put. So I probably would have been the way that my mum is with me about my pledge. I probably would have said why. But then if I care about them and it was really upsetting them, then I'd hope I'd be like my brother is. My brother's fantastic. When I went to see him in Cheshire, he covered all the animal products in the fridge with foil because he didn't want to upset me. So yeah, I think I'd hope I would be like my brother and realise how seriously my friend or family member is taking their veganism, that it really upsets them. But that's the thing, it's sitting down with people and telling them why you've taken the pledge and being honest with them and showing that emotion. Because for me, I was sat with them eating chicken, and they might have been eating chicken pieces, but I saw that chicken hanging up from her ankles with her throat being slit. I didn't see pieces of chicken on the plate. That's what I saw. I saw the being, not the food. And I think that's the way to explain it as well, and be emotional about it. Because this is an emotional thing. It's upsetting what's happening to these millions of beings every year. Like you're all like young and you're already vegan, and I took 40 years to make that step, and I'm telling you how to be active. But I feel like I'm making up for lost time. I need to make up for all of those years that I was paying for that injustice to happen. And it breaks my heart that I was part of that. I don't recognise that woman anymore. I don't know who she was, but I don't want her back in my life ever again. Yeah.
Now, before you went vegan, you were vegetarian for a bit, right?
No, we cut back on meat to 1 day a week. So we ate plant-based all week, cut out dairy, but had 1 day a week, Sundays, when we would eat animals.
What I was going to say is, for anyone in the room who's currently vegetarian rather than vegan, could you convince them why it's important to be vegan rather than vegetarian?
Oh, the egg industry and the dairy industry. That's what turned me vegan, was the dairy industry. If you're vegetarian because you are against animal cruelty, then you just have to look up dairy is scary, or look up the truth about eggs and find out. Male chicks are being born, and the same day they're born, they're put into a macerator and ground up alive. Now, if you're buying free-range eggs, that's still happening. If you're buying your eggs from the local farmer, go and ask the local farmer what happens to the male chicks and see what he says. And if you're buying dairy from a local farmer, go and ask them what happens to the baby calves, what happens to them. They're physically abused throughout their whole lives, and it's heartbreaking. As a woman, and I'm not, saying that this has happened to me, but every woman has had some form of sexual abuse. Every woman, whether it's been a wolf whistle or whether it's been an inappropriate bum pinch or something like that. What these dairy calves are going through is absolutely horrendous. They're having a fist put up their anus and a metal rod put in. Now, that metal rod can pierce their womb. So what the farmers do, they practice on spent dairy cows that are about to go to slaughter, so that if they do pierce the womb of the cow, it's okay because she's going to slaughter anyway. I wasn't aware of that until I went, about a year or two ago. It's horrendous. If you're against animal cruelty and you're vegetarian for that reason, the natural thing is to cut out dairy and eggs.
I don't eat eggs, but a lot of people ask me, if I have chickens in the garden, why can't I eat their eggs?
When a chicken lays an egg, it's the same as a woman giving birth. She loses loads of nutrients, and she feels the same pain that a woman does when she's giving birth. So what you can do is feed the eggs back to the hen so that she gets her nutrients back. Or better still, if you can afford it, you can get a pill injection the same as we do, so that she won't produce any eggs at all, and she'll just live out her life happily.
I just want to add to that as well.
Yeah.
Because as vegans, we need to be moving away from the idea that animals are food sources.
Yeah.
So when one identifies as an egg eater, including when it's, chickens kept in your backyard, you're promoting that cycle of violence and exploitation because you're treating chickens as what they were bred for by the farmer.
Exactly.
Source rather than as an individual. We wouldn't do that with non-farmed animals. Like no one eats their gecko's eggs, right?
No.
Tarantulas' eggs. You'd think that was gross and weird. But with chickens, this is like this. Oh, a chicken egg is just food. A chicken egg is not food.
The other good thing to do with that as well with backyard hens, the other argument is that they'll think, oh, I'll get some more hens and I'll rescue some more, and then they'll have too many eggs. So I'll just sell some eggs for £1 at the bottom of my... So you're still perpetuating the same thing, and that's how it starts, and it will get bigger and bigger.
But surely is it kind of okay to, they're selling like really healthy, happy eggs from like happy chickens?
Because it's...
But
they're not asked to take, and they're still, even though they're happy, they're still losing nutrients. So chickens in the wild would lay 12 eggs a year, right? The same as we have 12 periods, one every month. Well, the way they've been bred now is that they lay eggs every day, and it's such a strain on their body. Rather than take them and sell them, just feed them back. I've been to Pear where they've gone into where they rescue like hundreds of chickens every month from battery farms. And they go in, they take all the eggs out, and they just smash them on the floor, and the chickens just go for it. They all run, and there's like 100 chickens around your feet, like eating these eggs. It's amazing. Come to Pear, and these are free-range eggs as well. These are free-range chickens. Come to Pear on the 14th of November and check it out. There's also an event this Saturday. Sorry, I forgot to say about the events, didn't I? There's an event Saturday, which is a collaboration event. It's We the Free, it's Viva, and it's some chalking, and I think the Save movement are going to be there as well. So there's loads of people all together doing different bits of activism. So you can have a go at a bit of leafleting, a bit of chalking, and a bit of street outreach, and see which one that you like the best. There's an AV event on the 6th of November as well, and there is a We the Free event on the 7th of November. I'll be there, it's my birthday, but I'm still going. And then Pear Tree Farm, like I said, is the 14th of November, which is going to be amazing. If you can get down there, if you can car share or offer lifts to people, if you've got vegetarian friends or non-vegan friends at uni, bring them with you. They can see these pigs and these goats and these sheep that have been rescued from the animal industry, and hopefully they might make that connection. More hands the better. And they're lovely at Pear Tree as well.
I wanted to add one thing
go on.
Eggs. So before we move on, because it's a really important thing. It's a very common question we get. And I want to make sure this answer is very clear for the person asking it as well. Is imagine if we did have a world where, say, we just had these happy backyard eggs, like, okay, the chicken farming industry is abolished, and we've now just got, everyone's just got chickens in the backyard and eating their eggs. Still, we have the same issue. Where are all the males? Why would anyone be keeping the males? Cockerels are not.
Are you doing like senior or junior? Senior school. So I've got a friend who's a teacher, and he's vegan. He does primary, so I could put you in touch with him, and he could tell you. I wouldn't know because I'm not a teacher, but I don't know what you could do. There might be books. Bring in the books. There is actually. Message me later and I will give you a link to a woman who started off the school campaign. She was actually at Vegan Campaign and she's got this amazing campaign on getting veganism introduced to schools and normalised, and little vegan books as well for kids. So sneak them in, but I'll put you in touch with her. Yeah.
I just want to tell everyone about an easy form of activism you can do from your own living room, which is nowadays, short form video, right, is the main thing. So you go on TikTok and then Instagram Reels, the whole swiping up through videos bit by bit. Because short, attention spans are shorter than ever now in 2021, and people just love to watch those short little videos and stuff. So this is very easy to do. If you have a TikTok account or an Instagram account, you can literally just record yourself saying something, like a little truth bomb for like 15 seconds to the camera and then just upload it, and it can go viral. I've got a video on TikTok that's had 500,000 views, and it's just me talking to the camera for about 30 seconds about how absurd it is that we are indoctrinated to drink cow milk as humans. And I say, you know, the hippos need to drink rat milk and do giraffes need to drink camel milk, so then why would the human body need cow milk? That's got 500,000 views, and that took me about a minute to film. So for anyone who's like, you know, oh, activism is a bit scary and I don't want to, you know, I might not have the time, you can literally do some great activism and reach potentially millions of people from your living room within a minute with shorthand video.
And on that as well, if you don't want to put your face out there, you can download one of the plethora of other vegan TikTok videos. You can download it onto your phone and then put that on your TikTok page. So it doesn't have to be you can share someone else's. And share other people's like outreach as well, share other people's videos. There's a great guy called Debug Your Brain on YouTube. He's only got about 300 subscribers. Fantastic channel though. His his footage is great. His message is like on point, and he's got some great memes as well. So share those about, definitely. In fact, I think I spoke to someone that went vegan because of a meme. So, anyone else? I realised I was a bit shorter than I meant to be.
How can we try chalking?
Chalking?
So that's
Yeah.
writing chalk.
I love chalking, it's brilliant. Set up a little chalking event as well. Like, you don't have to go to someone else's event as well. If you want to do some chalking, definitely do a chalking event. I love chalking. We did I think you missed it, I did the 24-hour or the 12-hour chalking event. That's the worldwide one. The guy that runs it is based in the Canary Islands, but it's like there were events all over the world. But yeah, do a chalking event and post it on Bristol Vegan. Say, I'm going to go out and do chalking, because loads of people love chalking.
I just want to say, and if you wanted to set up an event by yourself, you can also like speak to VegStop. Like we'll be able to support you. You know, like, if you wanted to do it but you weren't sure where to start, like feel free to message us and we might be able to help you set up.
I mean, I don't want to steal your thunder there, but I'm running a event in a couple of weeks if anyone wants to join in. I think VegStop are aware of it. Just an activism table thing, giving out free vegan food to shoot that activism probably runs in a house. So if you want to get involved, please come.
Yeah, definitely. Let's support each other. It'd be amazing if you're doing a food event at university with all of you there. What a great way to tell your friends about it. Just don't even tell them about it. Go to it and go, oh, look what's going on here. Yeah, it was just, oh, what a weird coincidence. This happens to be here. But there, like I said, there's so many little things. I'm actually going to do a really shameless plug. I've got a small YouTube channel as well, and I've got a series of small videos on bite-sized activism. So there's like different ways, and these are things that my friends have given me, like not my ideas, and I do mention my friends in there. So one of them as well, which is great, is when you're sending something back or you're posting something, stick vegan stickers all over it. How many people are going to see that in the post office when they're sorting it? Loads. I hope that was helpful anyway. Sorry, it was just me and no like pretty pictures.
That was good, less distraction.
Cool. Any other questions? I hope I see you all soon at an event. I've seen you before. I've done an event with you before, haven't I? No? Recognise your face. You look familiar.
I'm in Cardiff, so I
Yeah.
don't do anything with Bristol.
Well, there's events in Cardiff as well.
They do
Yeah.
the visual.
They do the cubes, and I think they do an Earthlings event as well. Some passionate activists in Cardiff, really passionate.
It's a fun one now. Where's your favourite vegan place to eat in Bristol?
Oh, eat your greens.
Yeah, that's good.
Eat your greens. Totterdown.
And don't be put off by the name. It's not like a health food place. It's really.
Well, it is all Whole Foods. It is all Whole Foods. And it's gluten-free as well, because the woman who runs it is celiac, so everything's gluten-free. But yeah, eat your greens. Has to be.
They do like an amazing burger and lasagna, just everything they did.
Yeah. And then a non-vegan place, but they do great vegan options, is Dhamaka, which is on Corn Street, and that's really good. It's like Indian street food, and it's just so good, like properly good. Yummy. They do pani puri, which I could eat all day. Anyone
I
else?
recommend Kucha as well.
Oh, Kucha, yeah. What are your favourite forms of activism? Let's put it back on you.
Favourite food places or? favourite-
No, forms of activism. I'm not talking about food. I'm fed up of talking about food. I need to talk about ethics. Too much food talk in veganism.
I like giving out free food because people come to you, and when you give them something free, they feel like they have to listen to you. It's kind of like the way you get yourself in there. And then you can, demonstrate how tasty the food is. And it's like, oh, I can't believe it's vegan. I never had that one before. But yeah, it's a really good way to give people a little dopamine rush, give them something free, jump on some leaflets, have a nice conversation.
I've never done one. I really want to do one, actually.
Really good fun. Viva actually, so they did a burger van tour that I did in summer, going around the south of the UK.
I did see that.
Up north now, but they're always looking for volunteers.
They're always in the week, though. I work in the week. I can't do it in the week. It's pain. Anyone else? What's your favourite form of activism? Have you done any?
I think like making meals for my friends who aren't vegan, because I think quite a non-scary way of showing people how easy it is to be vegan is like cooking them a nice meal.
Asking them what their favourite food is as well and veganising that, so that's a good way to do it too. What about yourself? Done any activism?
I haven't done any.
You haven't done any?
Come here just to get some ideas.
Cool. Well, I hope you've got some. Any that you want to start? Any that stuck out?
Well, chalking sounds good. It sounds fun. Like, if somebody, anybody.
If you organise it and it's on a weekend, I'll be there. I love a bit of chalking. I'm not a very good artist, but I'll be there. There's chalking on Saturday. So that's in Broadmead. Yeah. Right in the centre, there'll be a street activism event, chalking and leafleting, and I think the Save going to be there as well.
Yeah, I think it's the same as last time, so I think it's us, as in We the Free, Save, and
Viva.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I won't be there. I'm away. I'm in a cottage in Dartmoor. Anyone else got any forms of activism they do that I might not have talked about that they do? No? Well, you've all been really lovely, and thank you again for inviting me. I was so nervous, but I could feel myself putting left at the start, getting redder and redder, but I feel nice and relaxed, You've been lovely.